Hi everyone, my name is Garnette O'Connell. My adventures that happen, I finally know someone who can get those into books. Her name is Allison. I've always wanted to get my adventures written in books, and now that I know Allison, she can do that for me. She's going to be doing a book reading. It's part of a series called The Adventures of a Mermaid, and the book she's reading this time is called The Rat Prophecy. This is part 11. Welcome everyone, I am the Esperanza243. Today we are doing a book reading of The Rat Prophecy. We're continuing the book. I'm surprised I haven't even reached the middle of the book or even the climax. But a lot is going on in the book, and I know it's been a while since I've done a book reading. Thankfully though, since then, I've done at least 1 or 2 karaokes and 2 lyric videos of the newest songs. And what's funny is that I've even told both my sisters about the new songs, and they've never heard them before. Considering that I actually know new songs before them is amazing, because I am never ahead of them. So that's pretty cool. The 2 songs that I did got me a lot of subscribers. I am almost at 200 subscribers now. Yay me! But the 2 songs that I did are Holy War by Alicia Keys and Rockabye by Clear Bandit featuring Sean Paul and Anne Marie. Both of those songs are amazing, and I'm really glad I did them. I will probably continue to do lyric videos of recently released songs, but I am going to try my best, and I know I keep saying this, but I am going to try my best to upload lyric videos of the album that my Uncle John and his band did so many years ago. And I keep forgetting that I need to contact him because I have trouble with some of the lyrics, some of the songs. Anywho, an update on one of my books, an update on my author career, I should say. One of my mom's clients is actually an author friend of mine, and my mom told her that, she told my mom, actually, that I'm an amazing writer, and she's surprised that I haven't published yet, which is an amazing compliment. Well, I don't think she said amazing, but she said that I'm really talented, and she was surprised that I hadn't published yet. And my mom told her why, and she actually suggested 2 people that she uses herself who are really affordable. And she even gave Mom their names and links to check them out. And I have actually checked them out. The formatter is actually really cheap, and I can actually get the formatter to help me out. And the other one is an editor, and he actually has 2 forms of payment. There's the basic editing, and then there's the full editing, which I am going to be paying for. The full editing is $175, which in the author world is extremely cheap, because it's never that cheap. But to me, I can barely afford that. Thankfully, though, with the way that's going on my financial status, I am going to be able to pay that. The matter is that I have to choose a book. And as you all know, I already have a book cover for one of those books. In fact, I read it here on this channel this year. Ashland's Dream Come True. So, that is going to be the first book that's going to be published, and hopefully it's going to be published next year. If I have enough money, I might actually go to a local store here in town that I can actually get printed copies of these books so that I can sell them myself. That would be awesome. I don't know what the prices will be, but I will have to figure it out. Maybe the formatter can help me out. I don't know. But I definitely will have to figure out how to tell everyone about the book. Of course I am going to tell you guys here on the channel. And I'll probably mention it on my gaming channel as well. I do have 2 Twitter accounts, one for this channel and the other for my gaming. I also have Instagram. I also have vine, which I know is dying, but I think I'm still going to be holding on to that, even though I haven't made a vine in forever. And I think there's another social media account that I have. I know I'm on LinkedIn. I definitely need to use that for my social media. I feel like there's other accounts that I have that I probably haven't touched in years. I need to figure that out. But, anyways, so now that that update is done for you guys, let's go ahead and get to the book, shall we? I believe what happened in the previous video, which was over a month ago, Garnette went to the dancers to give him the application that she filled out. Keaton, the jerk of a boss that her new best friend Ariel has. She actually notices the cupboard that's in his office and realizes that's not part of the office. It must be new. And Keaton actually said that it came with the office, which is a complete lie. And the interesting thing is, whatever instruction or direction he gives her, like, her body just immediately obeys. She tries to resist, but she can't. She doesn't understand why that is. And so, when he decides to give her a tour of the restaurant / club, because really it's more of like a VIP kind of club, sort of, because, you know, belly dancers and all that. He leads her around the place, and she cannot help but obey. She realizes it must be something that he has, and she figured maybe her locket could help. So she thinks of whatever that object is, and she opens the locket, and up appears is a haddock figurine, interestingly enough. And so she quickly hides it before he notices. And after he's done talking to her, she hurries to Ariel and tells her about the haddock figurine. Ariel realizes that Garnette has figured out the powers of her object. And interestingly enough, Ariel has something to defeat the haddock figurine. She has this blanket that she infused with some of her magic. So whenever she has something in that blanket and smashes it, I actually explained it here. Only the people in that room can hear her hit whatever is in that blanket. So anyone outside of that area and outside of that room, no one, absolutely no one can hear it. Not even the manager, which is pretty cool. So she actually, like, after smashing it, she kind of balls it up to leave out any empty space that's in there, and she uses a hammer to, like, fine tune it, crunch it, whatever, into fine, really grainy dust. And so one of her coworkers kind of gets curious, and he asks what's going on. She tells him to round up everyone who knows about Keaton's words and that are about to clock out or do a break. And so he does. Each of them grabs a handful of dust and spreads them out just wherever in the city, just as long as it's not in one place. They're all paranoid. They don't want Keaton to have any more control than he should. And so after that, she just kind of Garnette leaves so that Keaton doesn't know she was part of it. And later on, she decides to walk along the beach at the edge where the ocean meets, you know, and she kind of like watches the ocean rather than watching the people, which is what she did at the beginning of the book. So, and because she didn't look at the people, though, she didn't notice that there were kids playing around, and two of them were actually just got wet from doing like a wet down in one of the change rooms, and they came out to play like some sort of water gun sport, and one of them accidentally touched her, and she said it was, but because the water touched her, she knew that if she didn't hurry, she would turn into a mermaid. So she, dove into the ocean. And then after that, she decided to swim, like Corinna used to do. So she ended up swimming way past Aquatica and found a sunken ship. And the sunken ship has her curiosity, but she forgot that sharks are attracted to that kind of stuff, especially if the sunken ship is by a certain amount of rocks that gives it kind of like a wall barrier. Definitely attracts sharks. At least in my opinion. I don't know if it's true or not. And so she decides to contact Ezra, since she hadn't talked to him in a while, even though it's only been a day. And doing that, she overhears him talking to one of the princesses. And that kind of makes her smile. But we also learn that King Adelaide only has daughters. All his sons didn't live long enough. They were too adventurous. And that's actually kind of where we are. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking, because I've done plenty of it, and start reading the book. Ezra, pick up, she said into the whelk shell. He heard her laugh from a shell before she spoke. Ezra picked it up with a smile. Hello, my princess. She giggled. I'm no princess, Ezra. You will be. King Adelaide has high hopes for you. I just hope I don't disappoint him, or you, or myself. Garnette sighed before glancing at the sunken ship. She heard a sound and smiled. She knew it to be his lips forming a smile. In the months I've known you, Garnette, you haven't disappointed me for 1 second, he said quietly. Her cheeks flushed. I'm sure you didn't call for flattery, though. What is it, Garnette? Nothing. I just wanted to hear your voice. I miss you. She heard him chuckle. What? It's only been a day, Garnette, but I miss you too. Ezra paused. What plans do you have for this evening? I don't know. After we talk, though, I'm going to check out the sunken ship I found. It looks really old. Something about it. I don't know. It draws me in. Be careful around it. There could be sharks. I know. I will, she said with a smile. Talk to you later. Goodbye, my princess, he said dreamily. Garnette blushed before dropping the whelk shell. She swam a few yards closer to the sunken ship and kept an eye out. The rocks surrounding it somewhat gave a protective barrier, but that could give the sharks an advantage. The rocks also helped keep the sunken ship upright. As she moved closer, she didn't consider that advantage. Whoa, look at that porthole, she whispered. She had never seen one so big and round. Garnette attempted to enter through it. She grunted as she squeezed in. Not, big enough, she muttered. Her mermaid hips stopped her from going any further. She tried shimmying against her better judgment. Ow! She stopped after a few scales were rubbed the wrong way. Garnette sighed in frustration. She then shimmied out. She winced as pain erupted in her scales. The princess closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and spun herself around. She twirled on out of the porthole. After that, she breathed out what she was holding. Garnette swam around, looking for an opening. She twirled again, wanting to feel the tips of her hair touching her arms. That's when she saw an entrance on the side, as if some fishing boat. It was more like a custom houseboat, but as big as a ship. She swam in. Who could have built this? She thought. Garnette glanced around, keeping an eye to every detail. Goodness, look at the craftsmanship, she whispered. She saw everything. Brush, mirrors, pencils, a desk, stuffed animals, ham radio. It just made her wonder. How long ago did it sink? She didn't know. It sunk earlier that year. She suddenly did a double take after entering another room. Garnette thought she saw something. She craned her neck to see it better. It was a bronze safe, and with it being underwater, it was beginning to tarnish. It looked like amateur work, as if someone made it by themselves. She swam to it and pulled on the handle. To her surprise, the safe opened easily. The mermaid went through with what was inside. It didn't seem much. Garnette found several papers, photos, trinkets, jewelry. She knew there had to be more. No one would make their own safe unless they were hiding something. She looked over what space had to be left. She spotted a small cassette tape. The princess picked it up and read the label. Ghostly Scare. "I'll get this transferred later," she thought. She looked inside the safe again. Garnette then saw an odd object. She picked it up. "What's this?" she wondered. It was similar of a flower bud about to bloom, but it had to be all metal, every piece. The outside layer showed holes with the shapes of snowflakes, diamonds, crescents, stars, octagons, and hexagons. "Whoa, what a design!" She paused. "I wonder who would know about this." Garnette thought about it. She smiled as Darla came to mind. The princess held her locket. As she put Darla in her thoughts, the princess held her locket. Her eyes drooped. She gripped her locket. Her mind then zonked out. She opened her eyes and saw the inside of Darla's ocean home. Garnette looked for her. "Garnette, what a surprise!" she exclaimed. The princess turned toward her. She smiled. "Have you seen anything about me today?" she teased. Darla shook her head with a small smile. "You just get to the point, don't you? I don't get to hear a hi or anything." She scoffed with a laugh. "What's happened to you?" Garnette giggled. "Sorry, Darla. It's what happens when my mind wraps around something curious." She cleared her throat. "Hi, Darla. How are you doing?" "I'm well. I got to see some friends, and 2 of my 5 visions were of you and your family." 2 of 5? Really? That's something. "Garnette," Darla hesitated. "Do be careful today. No matter how much you're in it, the ocean is scary." "What do you mean? What did you see?" "It's probably best if I don't tell you," she said, recalling the visions. The first one was King Adelais waiting for Corinna, holding the locket she would have gotten. He got angry with every minute that passed. He didn't understand why his niece was late. The second vision happened to be more in the future. She didn't like what she saw, especially the part where Garnette gets hurt. Darla shook her head out of thought. She looked at Garnette. "Is there anything else, my friend?" As she opened her hand, Garnette kept her eye on the psychic. "You wouldn't happen to know what this is, do you?" Garnette, your hand is empty." The princess looked at her hand. Darla was right. She closed her eyes and concentrated more on her locket. Her person's hand gripped it tighter. The metallic object appeared. Darla widened her eyes in surprise. "What is it?" I don't know." The object was not in her vision of the future. "It looks like it's made of metal." "Doesn't it resemble much like a flower?" Darla swam closer to get a better look. Her eyes widened. "It is a flower," she whispered. "There are more layers, but it seems there are holes inside. I don't get it." She looked at the princess. "Where did you find this?" "In a sunken ship, but it looks custom made. So is the safe this was in." She paused but for a moment. "I'm going to go back on land, do something real quick. After that, though, I'll come home and talk to Uncle Adelaide about it. And meanwhile, I'll do some digging about the flower. There's something about it that reminds me of Well, something. It definitely has my curiosity. I want to figure out more about the flower. The mechanism then rolled. She and Darla gasped as a small pole came out. Parts of the stem finally showed. No way, she whispered. I think you better hurry, Darla whispered. If that mechanism is timed, we don't want anyone to see it. Just to be careful. You might be right. That explains some of why someone would put this in a custom-made safe. Go on, Garnette. I'll see you later. She nodded. She closed her eyes and imagined her person. Garnette's astral form disappeared like a magician once again. The psychic did not see that coming, which made her realize she must have gotten her object. Garnette opened her eyes. She looked at the flower and saw the small part of its stem. Time to get the audio transferred, she thought. 2 hours later, she was back at the dancers. When she got there, their belly dancing had begun. She waited for them to finish. Ariel was still on her shift. After they finished, Garnette followed closely behind. She lightly tapped Ariel's shoulder. Her friend whirled around. Who are you? Who am I? Very funny, Ariel. She grabbed her wrist and pulled her to an isolated part of the whole room. You won't believe what I found. I'm serious. Who are you? How do you know my name? Ariel showed confusion and shock on her face. Garnette widened her eyes. Oh no, Keaton, she whispered. He made you forget me. I don't understand. What are you talking about? How would he be able to do that? Her brows narrowed more. Lines creased her forehead. I'll tell you in a second. I need to find Leia, she said as she glanced around. Ariel opened her mouth to speak, but Garnette had already walked off. She kept her eyes open for the dirty blonde-haired woman, but in actuality, she had blonde and brown hair. She found her putting on fake lashes. Leia? Yeah? She finished the lash and looked at her. I recognize you. Garnette, right? You start tomorrow? Yeah, I do. Listen, Keaton doesn't know you're a mermaid, right? She whispered. She deeply hoped Keaton did not talk to her. Leia gasped. That's right, I remember now. Ariel introduced us. Does he? No, he doesn't. That's why it's such a close call when he doesn't get my object. Why do you ask? I believe he's finally crossed that line. He somehow made Ariel forget everything about me. The belly dancer widened her eyes. No, Keaton can't be that crazy. She shook her head. Well, with her not remembering me, there's only one other way to find out, she said, as if she didn't care what happened. What's that? I'm gonna talk to him. What? You can't do that, Garnette. I have to, Leia. I gotta know. She headed out of the spacious room and to the manager's office. Garnette knocked on his door. Come in, he called. She sighed before entering. Why, Miss O'Connell, it's nice to see you again. Close the door, please. She did. Would you kindly tell me why you're in my office before tomorrow? It took a moment before she responded. Garnette had to resist the command words. It broke when that moment passed. I want the truth. What did you do to Ariel? What do you mean? He had a blank look. Don't play dumb. She has no memory of me whatsoever. And that is where I'm going to stop. Oh boy, craziness. Sunken ship, a metallic flower. Ariel has no memory of her. This is crazy. That's kind of... I can't remember if that's part of the climax or not. I gotta go through the book. It's been a while. It's been a while. So, I'm actually excited because I'm finally getting back to doing this book reading for you guys. Oh man, that is craziness. So, I'm actually really looking forward to the rest of the book. I don't know if I told you, but there's 2 other books in this collection. It's actually kind of a quartet. There's a proper name for 4 books in a collection. I forgot what the name is, but for now I'm just calling it quartet, and it probably is the correct word. I'm not sure. But the other 2 books, the third one is Dangerous Clans, and the 4th one is actually a spin-off. It's actually one of the villain's perspectives. He is the villain in the 3rd book. And it's interesting because in the spin-off, I had to put a way to have him both the villain and the hero of the story. But at the same time, I had to make sure that he knew what was going on, and he knew that his family had to be the villain. Because in the mer world, there are many, many tribes, many, many clans. And I can probably explain that once I have the mermaid book. I actually do have this fictional historical book of mermaids. And it's a really cool book. It's very detailed. And the cool thing about it is that you get to learn a whole bunch about different clans and the different types of mermaids. Mer people, I should say, sorry. There are different clans of mer people, and you get to learn of this secret language that people have been learning about all over the world, and different ways to attract mer people. Because they don't consider that there are mermen in this book, which doesn't make sense. But, I'm going to put that aside. Definitely shows that this book is fiction, because otherwise it would not make sense to have just mermaids. There has to be mermen, otherwise there would be no lineage for mermaids. Oh, and what's really cool is that at the back of the book, there's like this family tree that goes on of, because someone was able to do like some sort of family tree after they learned that they had some sort of webbing in their hands or something. Found out they were descendant of a mer person, which is super cool. I would love to be a descendant of a mer person. I think I already am. I think I know I am, because every time I swim, I just want to swim. Swim, swim, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming. I'm actually super excited because, I'll probably put it in the annotation below, but I'm actually super excited because the nights prior to the day this video is going up, I will be seeing the film Sing. I'm super psyched because me, my mom, and one of my sisters, we've been wanting to see this for some time now, and I am super psyched because I've seen the previews for Sing, and it looks super cool. Oh man, I love it. I super love it. I'm excited. So, I hope I enjoy the film, and I hope you all enjoyed the book reading. There will be more to come. Definitely. So, next week, I haven't decided, but I think next week will be a karaoke. I haven't chosen which song yet, but I will figure it out. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. I am the Esperanza 243, signing out. Bye, everyone.